Okay, Scott, we're live. You're talking about copying, and that's the most
Yeah.
important growth thing a guy can do, I think.
Well, what's funny is when I was a kid, I didn't really copy a lot. You always hear these stories about people like, oh, I copied all this, and I never copied that much stuff. And so last night I was like, I'd had kind of a day where I didn't come home and feel like thinking about a lot of stuff. And
Yeah.
I had, and so I got out this artist edition, John Burns art. It's artifact edition, but and I thought I'm going to copy. And so my thought was I'm going to fill the page with copies of the same character, Colossus,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe, and depending on how that goes, I may do some more anyway. But I've just been, and I'm trying to do it. I mean, you could see here's the one I copied, and here's the one I did. And I got out of whack. I think I did his head a little small on this one. I may fix that, but uh,
Looks pretty
and
good from here.
I'm trying to just not copy what. So doing this, I'm trying to think about what do I want to get out of this. Not just, hey, I want some drawings that look like these drawings, but and so I'm trying to copy some of the line work,
Yeah.
and some of the rendering, I guess, if for lack of a better word. And so that's kind of what I've been messing with. That's what I did. This is what I did last night at the house.
Mm-hmm.
And so I figured I'd keep working on that tonight.
Oh,
I'd
yeah.
like to fill the page with Colossus drawings, but I'm not just like I'm trying to build it like if I were drawing that drawing versus just copying it.
Well,
Does
yeah,
that make
well,
sense?
do that. I mean, build it from the ground up. Do your own big
Make the
shapes, do your own draw through.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Don't just put down
yeah.
your
Don't
two.
just
You
copy it.
can do it. I mean, obviously, you can turn yourself into a little bit of a art projector and do literal copies, but make it
Yeah,
real organic, messy, and in terms of like what you get out of it. I mean, there's nothing quite like a good copy for feeling like you've like Sherm Cohen that wrote about the only good book about storyboards in the animation industry. He did a lot of storyboards and I think was art director on a lot of SpongeBob SquarePants. Uh, like he says, eat their brains. That's what you're doing when you copy.
yeah. Kind of figure out
Hmm.
what John Byrne and Terry Austin in this case
Yeah,
were trying to do.
sure.
You know,
It's the ultimate.
so I'm not just like drawing. Oh, he's got a shoulder. I mean, but I'm trying to build it up.
Hmm.
So you
Yeah,
know.
don't worry about
Anyway,
get real messy before you get on to those inks. I mean,
start.
well, I say that there's some people that react very almost weirdly. I had this guy named Nia that was a Watt student, and he hated to
Oh yeah.
see anybody that did a real busy underlaying foundational drawing. He wanted to see you try to get it done in about three strokes of your pencil. He was trying to convey, I think, to me in terms of like why he came down so weirdly on how messy I was being was that you want to
Think about it.
you want to capture the gesture without worrying about too much about if you're going to go on, especially if you're doing quick sketch. You want to say, okay, I'm done once I got the little starfish that I've told you about. The
Oh
Once
yeah.
you've got that, and then if you start dropping in the cast shadow and the what do you call that? The middle line of
Oh
the heavy line of
the
the shadow.
what is that called? The rim light? Not the rim light. I
No,
know
it's
what you're.
the
I can't think.
yeah.
What do they call that? It's the thing
Uh,
that I always think looks artificial.
well, it is. It's a complete construct. I mean, it exists in nature, but not to the extent that
Not
guys that are
always.
drawing put it in. What is that called?
Well, it's the what is that called? I know exactly.
It's the boundary. It's
Core shadow. Core shadow.
yeah, yeah, the core shadow exactly. It's referring to boundary between light and dark, and to artificially, I mean, it's not always artificial, to make that a statement of that's your darkest shadow, you are very quickly in a shorthand method, carving up all kinds of shape just by dropping in where the edge of a shadow is. I can instantly interpret this guy as being a finished figure, and that's what the core of these guys that could really do. It'd make you cry to see how quickly Jeff Watts could do a quick study that he would just drop that core shadow in, and then do the fill like that on just all those areas in shadow, and just combine that big area as a shape. And it was like, my gosh, it's amazing. It's like he snapped a picture. And it's like crazy.
It's like he's
yeah.
Well, and that's why that concept of the core shadow exists, because the only way it really exists in real life is if there's a bounce light to create a rim light.
Well, yeah,
which a lot of times there is. But it's
like
rarely
there is,
as strong as you see it drawn.
Yeah, it's rarely strong as you see it. Like you say, if there's not a bounce light, then the core shadow probably doesn't exist too well. And for the most part, the light, as it's curving over a shape, is just what you do ordinarily expect, a gradation. It goes from having been light to getting darker a little bit there, and it's rarely got that much drama. But that core shadow is really a cool thing to, think of the artists that are fan favorites that do it. Alec, he's totally a painter. Alex Ross, the guy that does everything for Brubaker, he'd be lost without a core shadow on everything he did.
Oh yeah, you see, I think that a lot of the newer guys. So hang on, let me grab a comic.
Okay.
There's a. I mean, you'll still hear me. I'm just step away.
Okay.
There's a guy that I like named Pepe La Raza, and of course he's. I hate to say he's a foreigner, but but I can't think of what country he's from. But he does. So he. See if I can find one. So he does this, and it's hard to see with all the coloring, but see, he kind of comes in and defines. I think a lot of the current Marvel guys kind of have this look. They don't do a lot of black because they leave room for coloring.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of.
That would have to be your style to have a lot of black. You'd have to say, sorry, color guy, my style involves a lot of punch with black,
Oh, I mean, here's a good example. Of course, it's a character wearing a black costume, but it's I don't know if you could see that.
Yeah.
Where there's so they do a lot of this kind of stuff and they do this weird cross hatching out of the form, where the form turns, not at the edge, but the turn.
Well, yeah, that's where you would hatch it. Whereas if you had a cast shadow, you'd have a hard edge,
a hard line, right? Yeah. But it's hard to see in colored stuff, but you see it in their pencils. But it's kind of kind of this.
Oh, it's I'm making a big deal out of this, like it's a revelation. It is all the pulp artists, of course, being painters, were.
There's a little bit of it there.
Will Eisner was a great one with the spirit, having a really. Wally Wood was gonna. You're not going to get too far from the core shadow.
I got a Wally Wood book coming in the mail tomorrow.
Oh, excellent. What are you getting?
It's one of those. What?
What are you getting?
It's one of those new. It's hang on, let me grab an example of one to show you.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen these. Have you seen these where they Fantagraphics is redoing the EC library, but what they're doing is kind of cool because it's by artist,
Oh, cool.
not and I mean it's not the same as the big imprints.
Mhm.
They've reprinted all the stories, a couple times I think, but um, anyway, there's a couple Wally Wood volumes, and I bought one. It's called the Spawn of Mars, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah, the one with the big blob that eats the world. Yeah.
Okay, I have it. It's coming tomorrow, so I don't know what's in
Oh.
it. I mean,
Okay, sorry. Spoiler alert.
that's a spoiler alert. Well, anyway, so
Yeah, that was
here's what
done. That was done
happened.
in 3D.
Oh, it
You know,
was. Oh, really?
yes, it was done in comic book 3D,
Oh,
and it
wow.
was also published in Wits End. That's the reason I know about it.
Well, there was. Cartoonist Kayfabe did something about Wally Wood, and it got me. Apparently him and it's hard to believe him and Stan Lee had a little bit of a feud at one point, and
Hard to believe.
so hard to believe, and so
He was.
and so
Yeah.
well they were and they posted a letter that he wrote to Stan Lee, and they were and the comment was, oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't Cartoonist Kayfabe did a thing, but there was something. Anyway, it was a group that kind of rips on Stan Lee as kind of being a charlatan
Yeah.
and taking, which whatever, that's neither here nor there. But
Yeah.
the they anyway they said, this is Stan Lee being passive aggressive and Wally Wood being aggressive.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's
my
the deal.
comment
Is
was,
Stan probably could rarely step up and really lay the smack down on anybody. He'd have somebody, if one person didn't take his side, he loses the entire war. He's got to
yeah,
be the guy that's the mediator and halfway. He's got to be like you on your job.
yeah.
He's got to see everybody's viewpoint.
Well, yeah. I mean, what's funny is, I've been promoted, so things have changed a little bit.
Hmm.
Where
Oh yeah,
but
you're laying the
now I
smack
have a
down
little.
now. Okay.
Well, now I'm not that again, not that I'm out causing trouble, but now I have a little more authority. I have a lot
Yeah.
more authority than I had originally. So I'm able to, people, and I don't have to. It's funny, I don't have to say anything, but people are just like, in the past, it's been like, well, you need to have someone approve this. It's like, okay, whatever you need, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, it was
have,
cool.
it's kind of nice. But anyway, my comment on it was that Wally Wood is the only comic book artist that I've ever seen a picture of holding a machine gun.
Thompson. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the Thompson machine gun.
I
That
think
got
he's in the Navy though. If I know
not
what.
in that picture. He wasn't.
Yeah, he's just got one.
No. Well, he was in the Navy, but it's pictures from the '60s, and he was in the
Yeah,
Navy
yeah,
in like the '40s.
yeah. I've seen that
Uh,
picture. I think
oh
he got it.
yeah.
I think he got it out and shot it too. I think was a real Thompson that
Oh, I'm sure
he
he
owned.
did.
He was a big one on getting
Yeah,
out and shooting his guns. Of course, he shot himself with a.
of course. Yeah, he ended up shooting himself, so I don't know that he's the
I think it was I
poster
think if I
child for.
remember right, it was a Bulldog 44, which
Oh yeah.
having a little short barreled 44. Boy, you talk about your nasty, unpleasant kicks. That would have a. But some guys like that recoil. I've always hated recoil in a gun. And it
I
all
would like a
depends
stub
whether or
nose.
not you get recoil, whether or not how heavy the gun is. So
Sure. Yeah.
if you
That
shorten
that's
that barrel up, it's lighter and Plus, the way it comes out on a shorter barrel really kicks it around a little more.
Well, my theory is if you're going to shoot it, or if you need to shoot it, at that point you could care less about recoil.
Yeah, yeah, oh
You
yeah,
know? Yeah,
oh yeah.
it's
You
like,
you
oh,
want you want to have all the plaster just fall out of the ceiling when you shoot it for effect. If you're having to scare somebody, shoot, yeah, do some damage.
yeah, I've always wanted a snub nose 38.
I
That's
had pretty much the equivalent one, the one that all the cops use and all the Republic
yeah,
serials, the
but
little
yeah,
short barrel
exactly.
38. And
Yeah.
again, I hated it. That 38 is just big enough a piece of ammunition that it really jumps around your hand when you shoot it.
So, you were talking about, you said, remind you to ask me about Celebration,
Yes,
Florida.
Celebration, Florida. When you were
Did you,
there, did you make it down there?
now hang on.
Okay.
No, I've never been to Celebration. We didn't have a car. Now I'd like to go to Celebration,
Oh, okay. I
but we
thought
didn't
you
have a
were.
car.
Okay.
Well, I was in Orlando,
Okay.
and Celebration is the community that was started by Disney. It's and I'm sure you're asking because it's where Adam Wu lives.
Yeah. Well, I guess I was mistaken. I thought you were definitely had that on your list of things to do.
No, we went to Pensacola. Which is Pensacola is about 6 hours away from Orlando. We went to Pensacola because I have family there. And honestly, if I was going to move, I mean, I know you look at the pictures of Celebration, it looks pretty cool, but
Yeah.
if I was going to move to Florida, I'd probably move to Orlando or Pensacola
Now
because
that's on
it's
the
on the
west
coast.
or,
Orlando's,
or the east side, isn't it? It's not on the west,
yes.
inner toward Texas.
No, it's on the west side.
Oh, it's
It's
on the
towards
west side
Texas.
toward Texas. Cool. I wondered about
Yes.
that.
If you
Which is
drive,
better?
if well, I mean, I don't know about better, but I'd prefer to live on the Gulf side,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Get out
which is
there and
the.
feel like you could always just head back north, and you'd
Yeah,
find
well, yeah, that
if you as a sailor, if you got out and got lost, it's like, turn around, head north. We'll run into land eventually.
yeah. Yeah, you won't end up in New Brunswick. You know,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
the
You could give it quite a mess over on the east side. Yeah, miss.
well, and I mean, my dad grew up in Pensacola, so and like I said, I have family there. But I don't know. And also it's right by Mobile, Alabama.
Hmm.
So it's in fact Pensacola is so far barely in Florida that it's on the central time zone just like we are, and the rest of
I'll
I don't
be.
know where it changes, but most of Florida is on the eastern time zone.
Yeah, that's weird. That must be almost like, what do you call it? Panhandle effect or something.
It's way in the Panhandle. I mean, it's if you look on map, Pensacola is barely in Florida.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, that's kind of cool, though. I mean, it's like a jump off
Yeah.
point that. Oh, I
Well,
dig
and
that.
here's the thing. Here's what you'll appreciate. The weather, since it's on the coast, is more moderate. And when we were in Pensacola, it was very comfortable. When we went to Orlando, it was hot.
Yeah,
And I mean, part of that was the weather. It was a little warmer in Pensacola when we left, after we left. But it reminded me. It reminded me of the climate reminded me a lot of San Diego because you got the breeze off the ocean and stuff. You don't get that in Orlando, and I guarantee you don't get it in Celebration.
look how great
You
that
know.
drawing is you're doing. That's awesome. Awesome. Do that and do some more brain eating. That'll put you over the top after a little bit
That's
of that. You've been waiting years to go down this adventure
this is
road.
this is the secret sauce I needed.
Yes, it is. And it can kind of like I would get done with copying some Rosetta sometimes, and then get disappointed about my own
About your own
inventions later.
Yeah.
But no, it makes a difference. It does make a difference. Like this little lecture on I've got a fairly good drawing here going of I was looking at some Kirby earlier. I've got a little shadow
I need
thinking.
to turn on my TV so I can see your drawing.
Oh, I can't see it too well right now. It's a kind of light pencil. Speaking of that, got this drawing going. I got this mystery email. I wonder if it's somebody that I know that's just screwing with me, because the email I ought to just read it. Let's see.
Is it from a Nigerian prince?
Yes, something like that. Anyway, it says the header is "package got bent," and it says, "Hello, Ellis. I received a drawing from you, but even though you did a good job putting cardboard in the package, the mailman decided to bend it. Today, I will mail the drawing back in priority mail envelope. The only change that needs to be made is please write 'do not bend' on both sides of the package when you mail it. That way, the mailman has a good heart. He will see the message on the package. I guess I can pay you to make another drawing. First, look at drawing in mail. After you see it, you can tell me the price." Now, what's funny, I just wrote him back.
What?
Says, "Hey, man, I haven't mailed out art in a year or maybe more." so I'm completely clueless. I wonder if he has got like a mailing list of artists that he does this to, or what? Maybe. But anyway, it would have to arrive anyway, for it to be a valid scam. But
I don't know what he would scam you out of. Artwork?
Well, he's basically saying that I can't use this drawing as sent or something. But like I say, I haven't done any of this.
He's not asking you to redraw it. He's saying write on it, don't bend, and send it back. What?
No. He's saying basically keep this one or something. I don't know. He's saying tell me how much you want for a new one. I don't know what he's got in mind. That's it's not going to arrive because I haven't sent off any artwork since I was doing those.
I should try that scam. Dear Ellis, my artwork was bent.
Yeah.
Please resend that drawing you did for me.
Yeah.
Include a bill and I will pay it promptly.
I really think it's probably something like he's got a list of people he has bought art from in the past, and he sent it to me instead of sending it to who he meant to send it to. That's all I can figure.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe that's a thought. It could be the wrong artist that he.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're horrible, and you're horrible about signing your artwork.
Yeah, that could be a factor.
Yeah, it could. It says, maybe somebody else has something that looks like an EG,
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
And see, this is the kind of stuff I want to copy. Let me show you
Oh,
this.
I'm sorry. I was reading that thing. Oh yeah. See, now that's good. You ought to, that thing you gave me that you're basing everything off of. Now, look at that one where that girl is sitting in the big middle panel. Look how awful the foreshortening is on Colossus's arm. That's just awesome.
Oh, this right here.
Oh yeah. He's just got no idea what owns what there. It's
very blobby, isn't it? He should have just shaded. He should just shaded it.
You ought to draw that right there and figure out how to correct it with that exact angle. What you got to know is the elbow is the most forward part. Get that big enough and work your way backward from that elbow.
Yeah. I mean, I think he needs some more.
Well, yeah, the tricep is the closest thing to your eyeball in this. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird. It just shows you though that might not have been Burns' fault. He may have had a kind of quick, rough sketch that he's, depending on what he considers a really good inker, to say, when you see this, I expect you to be able to think your way through it. and he
Gotta make
couldn't.
it work.
Yeah, make that work.
So one of the things I'm gonna do, possibly tomorrow, after I get off work, after I get home, I'm gonna go downtown tomorrow, I think, because the weather's supposed to be nice. But I think one thing I want to do, I've got 3 of these John Byrne Artist Editions, and I have an 11 by 17 printer. I think an 11 by 17 scanner. I think I'm gonna find a real nice page that I like and scan it. I'm gonna scan it, and then I'm gonna print it out on illustration board, not illustration board, but Bristol board, and then I'm gonna print out one on regular board, and I'm gonna cut out the lettering, and I think I'm gonna make a fake burn page. I mean, I'm not gonna sell it or anything.
Oh, so you can ink it?
Just for my wall. I think that'd be good.
Oh, yeah.
No. It's gonna be inked already, but it'll be the I don't know. That was just something I thought about today. It's like, oh, that's what I should do this weekend.
Yeah. No.
Sorry, I'm looking for another Colossus drawing. I want to do a page of Colossus swipes.
Yeah, Colossus.
Oh, these books are phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
I always liked Colossus because he.
Look at all that lost line
cool...
on that character that's bathed in light there. All that. That's pure core shadow there. No, on the other page, the page just before it.
This page?
You're in the gutter in my vision.
I must have turned the page on you.
Yeah. Oh, there, right there. That page. I guess you were right. I'm sorry. Oh well, it's too late. Go ahead. Go ahead, proceed.
Oh,
well, I got something here now. It's like I think I'll just leave that in pencil. I may ink it later. I could ink that in ballpoint. That'd still be interesting. I guess.
What is that?
Oh, I've got this guy that's.
Is that a character?
No, it's just an overly upper-bodied, muscled guy that's got that core shadow. It looks like a guy in the.
Oh, I got you.
Umbrella Academy, basically, that's got a gorilla's upper body. Have you watched any of those? You don't get Netflix, do you?
I've watched a couple. What is that on? Is that on Prime? I know I've watched a couple of them.
Oh, well, you must have
just been like
got some freebies on Prime or something. Okay, I started. I put ink on it. Now I got to go.
I saw a few of them and I was underwhelmed.
Yeah, they're kind of vulgar for what they are. I mean. But
it committed the
I got
worst
into
sin
it
of
and
all.
finally finished.
I thought it was boring.
Boring,
Oh,
not
did
vulgar.
you?
Yeah, I watched all of them, and apparently they're going to have new ones coming out. And of course, since they came out, we had the actress who is now a man, go through that, and so. Now she is in the credits as her male gender name.
I got you.
I forget her name.
I don't know who was in it.
Oh, she played the one that ended the world with her mutant ability. She caused all the trouble basically that they're all going to encounter. She's basically Phoenix. It's very, it seemed to me like, hey, man, this stuff is all pretty derivative, I mean, it seems like you'd heard it all in comics before.
Oh, here we go. I'm going to do a Colossus face.
That's good.
Right in the middle.
Oh, yeah. I'll get you some thinking about metal and sheens. I had to do that recently with, that thing I did with the little woman dwarf. Her arms are turned into metal in my most recent freelance.
Oh yeah, which I think I saw that.
Yeah, you probably did. I post them on Instagram. I gave you a little joke. What I tell you? I gave you a little. Oh yeah. Your before and after on your.
Oh yeah.
Studio cleaning. Before
I cleaned my studio in Ellis. This is a before shot. Well, the problem is you couldn't see where it was bad was off over in the rest of the room.
Yeah.
So the picture before and after of that particular angle would look the same, honestly.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I
But
mean, that's
no,
what
I spent quite a bit of Memorial Day weekend working on that.
Well, I think I'm missing. I'm such a dummy.
And
I could have scanned that and had both. I could have my pencils and my inks. But now I have to have a partial start. I'll do that. Scan it real quick. That's what one guy was.
technology.
I was watching some YouTube, and he says, "Don't worry about losing that painting." He's talking about getting. If you've got a genius underpainting of something that you just can't hardly bring yourself to paint over the top of it, it's like, just take a picture of it and dig right back in, and and paint over it.
There you go.
And that's exactly what you do. You get a record of it, and now that I've got this record of this thing, I will ink with abandon. That was almost a senior moment, not realizing I could do that. That was kind of dumb.
Very, very Luddite of you.
Yeah.
So what'd you do today? What do you do? I know what you do on normal days. What do you do when it rains? I'm assuming you don't go to the
I
park.
went out for the walk. It wasn't much trouble avoiding rain today. It didn't rain that much. Got out for the walk. Did a couple things. I don't know if you saw that little note I had about lawnmower. I went on YouTube and I found this great guy for small engines and lawnmowers and everything. Golly, he knows everything. And you talk about, he was just the medicine I needed, that I could just hardly do any wrong if I'd follow what he gave me to do on a lawnmower. And it was, especially when it came to, like, I was trying to complicate it, like, I got to get this gap right. And he had this one video. It's almost like, it's really kind of scary. It's either the simulation or the algorithm is reaching out to me, because I was all worried about, I in fact already wasted money, sent off $5 to Amazon for one of those little gapping things for your spark plug. And
I wish you had told me I got one of those.
Sure, yeah, well, everybody should have one. I thought I did. And so,
well, I haven't used one in years. But...
Exactly, yeah. But on a lawnmower, he made a point of saying you do not need to worry about gapping your plug on a lawnmower. And he made a dramatic thing of showing one where he put them almost together, and another one where he bent it about as far apart as it could go, and they ran exactly identical. Now, it might burn up a little quicker in one of those positions, but who cares? I just basically didn't change the factory setting. And when I pulled the other one out, it was like, well, it's the exact same distance.
Yeah, most of the time they don't. Most of that stuff comes from the factory.
Yeah, ready to go.
The spark plugs come ready to go. Yeah, typically, at least that had been my experience. But I have not put spark plugs in a car in years, and my Subaru.
Nah, you don't want
the
to.
The next change is going to need spark plugs, and I am not putting them in. I've got a $25,000 turbocharged car that. But here's the thing: my next trip to the dealership is going to cost me about $1,000, if not more. Well, because it's a 4-wheel drive, so they're changing the differential fluid and I guess the front and the rear and the middle, and there's just a lot of expensive stuff on a 4-wheel drive when it comes to maintenance. And they're going to change the spark plugs. Which I'm like, Subaru doesn't use 100,000 mile spark plugs like every other manufacturer in the world, but apparently they don't, and it's like I said, it's going to cost me about $1,000, but
Yeah, I mean some of those plugs can be kind of hard to get to anyway. You gotta
that's the thing. My Subaru engine's flat,
Mm-hmm.
so they're way down there. So they got it. I don't know what they do. I don't know if they take out the engine. I don't think they take it
They
completely
probably
out. I
don't
hope
take it all
not.
the way out, I wouldn't think.
But I think they have to they have to jack it up and do. I mean, and it's not just the dealership screwing you, because I've read in several things like, yeah, it's expensive to it's an expensive operation to have done. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no way I'm doing it myself. I'd get
No.
halfway through and screw something up.
Well, yeah.
No,
You'd
no. I
be,
mean,
and you couldn't go anywhere to have it fixed. You'd have to call AAA.
I, I, I do a AAA, so that wouldn't be that big a deal. But
Mm-hmm.
I know a guy that changed his own oil. He bought a couple-year-old BMW, and he was a mechanical guy. He was the parts manager at a place that sold. We will say they sold diesel type equipment, like well, I'll just say it was a Caterpillar dealership.
Uh-huh.
He was the parts manager, and he was pretty handy. So he went up there one day when they were closed on a Saturday, because they weren't open on. And he went up there and he got his car, and he's gonna change his own oil.
Mm-hmm.
So he put it. But he's gonna use their lift. That's why he took it up
Yeah,
there.
that's why. Yeah.
And so he got his oil. He got the lift. Put the car up on the lift. Well, he didn't have something right, and he spilled oil on the floor, on the garage floor.
Mm-hmm.
And so he thought, well, I'll change this real quick, and I'll clean it up. And
Mm-hmm.
so he changed it. He drained the oil. Well, the oil was drained out of his car, and so he's kind of futzing around. So there's no oil in his car, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he slips and falls and lands on his elbow and breaks both
Jeez.
his radius and his ulna when he
Good
fell
God, y'all. Yeah.
in his right arm. He's right-handed, and so he's there in a car with no oil, and is obviously broke. I don't think it was like a what they call it, a compound fracture, where it comes out of the arm or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. Yeah,
It
but
wasn't anything quite like that, but he couldn't use it though, and he
yeah.
had to he had to finish changing his oil,
Before he could get
and
medical help.
it's like before he get medical, yeah, then go drive himself to the. Oh, and his BMW was a stick shift too, so on top of
Oh
all
God.
that, he had to deal with that.
Well, of course
You
he
know,
had to do it if he wanted to drive himself. Yeah. He could have
right?
called
Yeah, I mean he
somebody
could.
and said, "Come get me! I broke my arm." But he wanted to get everything
Yeah.
done before he left. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he didn't want to leave his car on the lift,
Didn't want
and
to leave a mess. Did he leave a mess? Did he leave the
no.
mess on the
Well,
floor?
I don't know if he. I doubt he did. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the other thing.
so,
If you do something like that at work, you can't just like, okay, I'm leaving.
yeah.
I mean, I guess some people do, but I mean,
So he gritted his
I would
teeth
feel
and
like,
even cleaned up his mess. That's amazing.
yeah,
It's that's that's an adventure in pain right there.
yeah. But anyway, yeah, not yeah. So anyway, that goes to your old what do you want to do yourself kind of thing.
Yeah, and the other thing, of course, is that oil. There can be horror stories if you go to certain channels about like, hey, don't mess up this process of emptying the oil out of your lawnmower. You could get it all over this or that, and then this one channel. I'll have to post a link. I'm going to go on about this guy about how great he is. I'll go ahead and post a link to his channel because he's actually fun to watch. That's the other thing. They're short, they're sweet, they get right to the thing. He's everything you want if you're looking for information about a topic about your small engines.
Oh
And
yeah,
so,
it's funny how the right delivery can make about any video. I mean,
oh yeah,
you listen to somebody that's entertaining, and sometimes it can be just there was a Michelle and I, over the course of COVID, at one point we built a model plane, and so I was watching. I found a web or a YouTube channel that was a guy building model planes, and he didn't talk while he was doing it. He just built. Well, no, he may have talked. It's been a while since I watched him, but there was like music, and it was just so calming, and you just watch the guy put this stuff together, and he did his were crazy complex, and he'd build these dioramas and all this kind of stuff.
Did you happen to notice how popular his channel was? If he's
And
got a
I thought that
million,
was super cool.
if he's got like a million hits, that's
Pretty popular. I don't know about a million.
versus my. Oh, we did well last
That's
week.
the
We got
money.
about 28 hits on this thing. That is actually
Oh,
pretty
really?
good.
I was on a video. I don't know what you call these. A video thing earlier this week on Tuesday.
A Zoom?
They asked me if I'd be. Yeah, you know Dirk Cooper?
Dirk Cooper. The name sounds familiar. What does he do?
He's a local artist, and
He's not the guy.
anyway, he does
no, He's not the My Friend Death.
No, that's Tyler Keating.
Okay, yeah.
He doesn't do a comic,
Okay.
but he has done comics. But he anyway, and he is involved with a thing called Task Force Geek, which I mean I hate the name of, just because for me it's like, it's not,
There's geeks and there's nerds, huh? You don't want to.
Well, no, yeah, none of them are good. You won't be called any of them in my book. But so at work, I don't know if I told you they referred to me as a nerd. Well, they had got onto me because they were telling I referred to not a person. We were talking about somebody, and I was like, oh yeah, that person's a skank. And they're like, no, you can't call this. She's just making. You can't say that. I said, oh, okay. I mean, and I was like, well, what am I supposed to? How would you describe her? Like, well, you don't describe. You just ignore it, or whatever. But and then literally like 30 minutes later, they referred to me as a nerd. And I was like, whoa, you can't call me, and don't call me. Well, it's not a bad term. I go, well, I think it is. And they're like, oh, because that's their whole thing. Is like, well, they don't want to be called that. You can't call them that. I'm like, hey, I don't want to be called that, so don't call me that. Plus, I'm your boss.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I was on Task Force Geek Tuesday, and I talked about my comic book. He had two hosts cancel on him, so he texted me and said, "Hey, would you be willing to fill in tonight about 4:00?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm your Huckleberry," and so I filled in.
You know what that? Oh, I was about to tell you. Do you know what that Huckleberry refers to? And it's actually he's actually saying something else. It basically refers to the handle, I think, on a coffin. It's the
Oh yeah,
is something else. And so when he says, "I'm your Huckleberry," he's saying, "I'm the last thing you'll see."
He's gonna kill somebody.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go. Okay, then I'll double down on that. I'm your Huckleberry.
Yeah.
So it's not just I'm the man for the job, but I'm the man that's going to kill you.
Yeah. It's I'll be your pallbearer.
Yeah.
Send you right there. Yeah, I almost stepped off and started watching that again. I knew if I started, I'd watch it. Oh, I have not mentioned all the stuff I've been up to lately. I've got our. I finished this book, pretty good read, 500 plus pages.
Oh, yeah, I've got that.
Goldman, Adventures in the Screen Trade. Can't recommend this enough. This guy, I think, I doubt if he ever wrote anything he enjoyed writing as much. This is about his life, and he wanted to. tell everybody what's what and who's a dummy and who's not. He goes off on guys like Hoffman, and he goes off on them so badly. A lot of people have had to say, "Hey, I got to correct that story," and so no, but it's got the full script from Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. So I've got this movie on tap to watch tonight if I feel like it. And I noticed the other night I was watching with one of these channels with commercials on Pluto TV. And I was watching, have I seen Ghost Protocol, the Mission Impossible? So I started watching it and realized I hadn't. And I think I've probably seen the end of it or something. But, that's the one that was directed by Brad Bird. So I want to see that one.
Yep, that's one of the few I have on Blu-ray.
Yeah. So yeah, I gotta check that out and probably watch that.
I was somewhere and they had it real cheap. So
yeah, it looked pretty good. Looked like seems like everybody's being real. It's going to shift the other way, of course. But right now, everybody's being real complimentary to Cruise. Seems like. It's like,
oh yeah,
it's like, thank God Tom Cruise is out there making movies like Top Gun 2,
Maverick or whatever.
Yeah.
I hate to say this because I know that you worked for the Top Gun organization, but I never cared for the Top Gun movie.
Well, I tell you what,
and some of my friends
as a guy with my personality, it's an impossible mix. These are the alpha males that you're around, and they're walking in and telling you what they want for their art. And it's like, okay, the chemistry never even gets started with a guy like me, with a guy that is, able to even strap himself in and do that stuff. Yeah.
Shooting down MiGs. Yeah.
Yeah. Shoot off a carrier deck on an F-18. And an F-14.
Land on a carrier deck.
Yeah, land. Yeah, the landing is the big deal.
Yeah, forget about shooting. That wouldn't be, the landing would be.
Yeah, and plus the F-14.
Not that any of it's easy, but
it's not the most graceful looking little jet in the world. Those, I imagine it's much more complicated. I got to sit in one of the shoot. I almost broke out in a sweat sitting in the simulator. It's like, it's like, oh God, this is too real, But it allowed me to visualize just how what a adrenaline charge that would be to do that.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, what were you about to say? They have that Val Kilmer. I've got to watch that. They supposedly semi-restored his voice so he could be in the movie.
Oh, really?
Because his voice is gone because of cancer.
Oh, I didn't realize his voice. I didn't realize his voice was gone.
Yeah. They've got supposedly a pretty good documentary out, and I think I started to watch it. I forget where it's at. It might be Prime.
Oh, yeah, on Prime, because he's recorded a bunch of stuff.
Yes. And,
there you go. That's the one I'm going to draw right there.
Let's see.
Good one, honestly.
Oh, yeah. That's a great pose for you to draw. That's awesome. You're whipping right through them and doing fairly nice copies. I would expect.
I'm working on it. I think I did his face. I think he had made his face a little flat here.
Well, I tell you what, if you that's what's important is that you that underdrawing, get the measure right, and get those features measured and balanced. And all it takes is that little draw through that lets you know where they need to be.
Yep, like somebody always tells me, drawing is measuring.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it came out pretty good, comparatively. No, I really wish because I'd really have liked to have taken the pencils and darken them like it was the these inks that I've just done, because my inks always leave a little bit to be desired. Now I'm going to erase it once I'm pretty sure I'm not smearing it. Get rid of the pencil. See what we get when we scan that. So yeah. What else did I want to say about? Oh, anyway, William Goldman. God, what an insane talent. But it's so funny to think about. You know, he's a guy. He's kind of angry about a lot of what he had to go through because of people that didn't write the things being so powerful in terms of like what they change about what he wrote.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Of course,
I can see that.
Oh man, but it's funny. I just recently watched Marathon Man just the other night, and I said, "Oh man," you know, and I'm so filled with appreciation for what I was seeing. I said, "Ah, what a great ending! That's perfect." And they gave that to Robert Towne. The whole ending, they wanted a different ending, and the guy that wrote Chinatown wrote the ending. So it's like,
Oh,
well,
really?
you know what? That's a pretty good ending there. And then I read what Goldman had planned for an ending. I said, you know what? I'm sorry, but Robert Towne did a better ending.
Hey, you know,
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's a reason someone was saying, I don't know about this ending. He doesn't, you know, it may be hard to take. But...
Yeah, I mean, you know, art by committee is not everyone always kind of dogs it or whatever, but
yeah,
sometimes I think some people need an editor.
Well, that's the deal. You know, they have these focus groups, these test audiences and stuff like that for a reason. You know, it's like this thing will go out there and lay flat if we don't have it, you know, figured out before we put it out there. You know, it's not blended up just so.
Yep, I could see that.
That reminds me of what was that old Dell character, Mighty Samson.
Mighty Samson. I don't think Dell made up Samson.
I think there was a character called Mighty Samson and Dell or Gold Key. I forget which.
It may have been. I think I recall seeing in one of my comic book history books about a character named Samson or something, like maybe like in the 50s or something.
Well, yeah. It's funny they would have those glorious painted covers that they did for Gold and Dell, but then every now and then, all of a sudden they give it to Tony Tallarico or something like that. It would be these awful line drawings. And it's like how can an art director even accept a line drawing that looks like it was done for Charlton Comics? When you've got that as you know, in the same line, you know, it's the same title, but they did that in a couple of instances, you know, and it probably just deadlines or whatever. It's like, and probably explained why they were so badly done. You know, they probably said, "We need this, Tallarico. Can you do it?" He said, "Yes, I can. I'll have it right back to you."
Yeah, I mean, you know, everyone always. Let's see, what's his name? Who's the inker that everybody always dogs that they say ruined Kirby on the Fourth World?
I'm not sure, but you know, Thor. When you look at the inks on that, who did?
He did Thor too.
Yeah.
Same guy. It was I forget who it was, but anyway, he got a lot of. He later, I don't think he ever really noticed at the time. I don't think the fans really noticed, but later he kind of got a lot of heat. But boy, they loved him because he could do like 12 pages a day or something crazy.
Well, that's the deal. That's what he was doing. He had a great eye for leaving stuff out. Or
Oh yeah, Kirby put in these buildings, and he rendered them as building blocks. You know.
yeah, he would just leave out a ton of stuff. Vince
What is
Coletta,
his name? It started with this. Ben. I was gonna say. I wanted to say Collins.
maybe.
Yep, Vince Coletta. Yep, no, it's Vince Coletta. That you're
Okay.
100% right there.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I just got some heritage auction art, or the high res Kirby just now. You know how I always tell you about, if you want something to, I'll share this image. Let's see if I can close all these. I opened up a whole lot of Mort Drucker. Let me share a screen. Oh, that ain't it. That ain't it. Okay, now I'm ready. Share screen. I think Oh, okay.
Would you lose your image?
There we go. I had it blocked, and it's up in the address bar where you have to unclick it. So I had to do tech stuff, boomer tech stuff. Now,
Oh yeah.
Here we go. There he is. Now notice this is a Kirby Hulk. And ordinarily, proportion wise, if you want the body and all that to feel like it's massive, your head would get a little smaller there. Instead, Kirby convinces you that guy is massive with just miscellaneous scale items like how big his feet are and his hands.
Yeah, I was just going to say his feet.
Yeah, his
That's
feet.
funny.
But that is, that's beautiful. I mean, that it's such great shapes. He's, he inks that stuff with such flair. Or he doesn't ink it, but anyway.
The way he draws it was. I think for what I've seen of his pencils, they're pretty much complete.
Oh yeah. If you wanted to just, be rest assured that you had it all covered with your information on, I'll go ahead and share this that I just did. Once I crop it, rotate it, I usually produce about. We're almost done. Let me adjust the levels. Do you want to add anything tonight in terms of of course, we're not interacting with anybody tonight. Nobody showed up. That's all right.
No, they didn't. Where they been? We had record numbers last week.
Yeah, what happened last week?
And they learned their lesson.
We did have a lot. Maybe because we started late or something.
A lot of.
Or maybe because I think probably I had it all set up to go, and people that are get notifications.
Oh, you
probably
did.
Were primed well ahead or something. I need to do that more, I guess.
Yeah, you need to do that again. Yeah, like all the time.
Yeah, like each time.
Not that
okay,
I'm like,
let me share the screen on what I just. Oh, there we go. Add to stream. Here we go. There it is. Well, I got to get closer to it.
Oh yeah.
See my core shadow. That just started out of a discussion of the core shadow there on his big, oversized arm. What got hit in the light, what doesn't. That was a fun evening of rendering. I want to save that. Go ahead. So 8 o'clock. You ready to call it quits? You want to look at all these fun drawings you did? Want him to show them all? Look at that. That's awesome. That's what you need to do, Scott. This is this is the ultimate for you. Do this, and all of a sudden you'll find it. Like just when you go to sleep tonight, all of this potion of drawing that way will be that much more in your forebrain when you do your own drawing.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea.
Yeah,
is to and like I picked Colossus because one, he's got a nice metallic figure, and I do like the way Burn, especially Burn and Austin render metal.
Well, and what's great about that is that you need really good studies on volume for some of your anatomy, and there's no better study than that cross contour that is going on all over Colossus. That is great. You ought to do nothing but Colossus for the next 2 months.
I'll have a sketchbook filled with Colossus wipes.
Really. And put it out. Put out your Colossus sketchbook. Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be all Colossus all the time, but also another thing is he's a character that I'm not comfortable drawing because his proportions are kind of odd. He's big, but he's lanky big, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, Well, very cool. It's cool to witness that. So, you want to say anything before you go?
No. Thanks for watching. Okay. My book is going to be my comic book, Heaven's Rejects, should be in the July previews. So if you are watching this and you're like, man, that Scott guy is pretty awesome.
I think I will buy that issue. I will buy that issue of previews.
Go to your local comic shop and tell them it's from Source Point Press. Order Heaven's Rejects, and if you do, let us know, and that would be awesome.
Excellent.
Anyway, that was it. Just sit and just make me money.
Yeah.
No, make it worthwhile to do volume 2. That's what we've done 4 issues. I want to be able to justify doing issues, 4 more issues.
That would be fun. That would be fun to have growth over a title. Yeah.
Well, that would be fun because I feel like I would do a much better job drawing it now.
Sure. I know you would.
I thought the first series was pretty good, but I mean, this will be after my Colossus sketchbook, so
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
Okay. So you kids out there, make sure you do your copying. Okay. Ending broadcast.